Welcome to Tech Tuesday. This week we're going to take a look at Google Forms. I actually had 3 teachers asking me for a demonstration on Google Forms, so here it is. The first thing you're going to want to do is take your web browser and navigate to drive.google.com. And you need to make sure that you log in using your h12.org account if you're using a Harlem account. Or any Google account will work if you're not a Harlem person. So I'm going to click on my harlem122.org account. My password is entered, and this takes me to my drive. When we're making a form, we want to make sure that we're accessing the folder in which we'll actually use the form. So let's say if you have a first period folder or a course title folder, that's where you're going to go. So for mine, I'm going to go into just a folder that would make sense for me. And once you're in the folder where you want to store your files, this is where you're going to create your form. So you'll click on New, and then go down to More. There are options for documents, spreadsheets, and presentations. We're going to need a form, so we're going to go to More and click on Google Forms. And this has created a form for us. This is all you really need to do to actually create the form. From now on, we're just kind of manipulating it or customizing it to our needs. The form settings is the first window up here. This is where you can check to require a Harlem login. This would make your students have to log into their h122.org accounts. You can collect the respondent's name if you would like. That's also if they're logged in. If you leave these all unchecked, then anyone in the world can take your form, can fill out your form. So that's an option. I'm going to just require this just to show you what it looks like if you actually do have your students log in. Totally up to you whether or not you want to or not. The first field here is for the title of your form. So we'll title it Tech Tuesday Form. Okay. Now you'll notice right up here the title automatically changed to whatever you titled your form. So it is now called the Tech Tuesday Form. The question title for your first question is whatever you want the question to be. So let's make the question, how would you rate the Tech Tuesday videos? We can put a help text in there to explain the question. In this case, it's really not that necessary. Now the question type, this is where we can add another layer of customization. Question type multiple choice, that could work here, but it's probably not the best way. I think the best way for this question would be a scale. So you could do scale from 1 to 5, 1 being awful, a mixture of horrible and awful, to completely awesome! Exclamation point. And you can then choose below that whether or not you want to make this required. If you check required, it will not let the user submit the form unless they've answered this question. I'm going to make that required. Click done, and you can see how the question is going to look like on the form. If you want to add another question, you can click add item. And here we're going to add another item. This question is, let's say, describe how you use Tech Tuesday videos. Definitely not work because we're asking for a description. So you could either put text or paragraph text. We'll go ahead and put paragraph text in here. That way they can put in a longer answer. I'm not going to make that required because they're actually going to be typing some stuff in. So now you see describe how you use Tech Tuesday videos as your second question. Let's add a third question that says, what topic would you like a Tech Tuesday created for? That's not a very well written sentence, but that's okay. So what topic? This one you could do a text, which is a shorter answer. You could say name all of the topics you'd like to see and make it a checkbox. You can do a choose from a list, which is similar to multiple choice. So there's different things you can put in. This one we'll just make it text, and we'll click done. On your confirmation page, you can add a little message here. Your response has been recorded. Thank you for being awesome. Something along those lines, just to you can personalize it if you want. So if it's for a student for a quiz or something, you can add some different things in there. And then there are a couple different options that are pretty self-explanatory that you can explore if you would like. Okay, so because this is a Google tool, it saves automatically. It's live, so it's always there, and your changes are always being made, which is pretty neat. Um, you can take a look at a couple different things. Right here's a nice little feature where it says change theme. If you click on change theme, you can see over here on the right a bunch of different options came up, so you can make it look a little different, make it pop a little bit, a little fresher looking. This is kind of the standard education one because it's got some books if you like that one. If you're a science teacher, perhaps you would like the little lab one. There's a couple different options we could go with. Nice little colors there. Anything like this could work just fine. So, we've created a nice form. Isn't this great? What's the next step? Well, the next step would be to send the form. So if you send the form out, you can use this link, and you can email that link. You can make a QR code for the students to scan the link and take it on their phones. You can make it tiny. You can make it shorter by clicking short URL, and then you can do it that way. There's really a whole lot of different options you can do to actually get the form out there. So you can, to create a link on your web page. Really, there's a whole lot of different things you can do to actually get your form link to your students, but really you're essentially just using this URL to do it. Once you send it to your students, what do they see? Well, you'll always be able to check that by going to View Live Form. So when I click on View Live Form, this is what your users are going to see. This is what your form is going to look like. So if you have maybe a quiz or a formative assessment, you can kind of check out how it looks here. Okay, so you can even take it as a practice if you would like. And then say apps, just for example. And then your users could send themselves a copy of the responses. Now, before I click submit, I do want to show you what happens to your data. Where does it go? When your users complete your form, then what happens? Well, you'll notice that automatically in your drive, when you created the form shows up in your drive, but also a spreadsheet with the title of your form and then responses in parentheses automatically is created. So if I double click on this and take a look at it, you'll see I have an empty spreadsheet with the questions that I just created in this form. Okay, so so we can take a look at it, I'm going to format this to wrap the text, so that way you can just see, like, these are the questions I just created. They're right here. So when every single time a user submits a form, it will automatically populate this spreadsheet. So let's go ahead and take a look. We've already filled out the form here. I'm going to click submit. Your response has been recorded. Thank you for being awesome. That's the little message we typed in there. And if we head over to responses, my response is automatically entered in there. I rated a 4. I use them all the time, and then apps. So this will update live. So you can do this in class, and it will collect all of this data for you, and the data is always there. And then you can treat this form like an actual spreadsheet and play around with your data. So it's a pretty cool tool. It's very versatile, and you can make this form really ask whatever you want. You can use it for a survey. You can use it for a formative assessment. You can use it just to collect some anonymous data on how you're doing, maybe some feedback on how you're doing in the classroom. Really, it can be used for just about anything, and it can be manipulated over time. So as you kind of get familiar with this, you may want to do some more complex things with it or ask what you can do with your data. Once you get to that point, by all means, I want to be involved. Let me know. I can help you out. If you have any questions about creating forms, using forms, anything like that, let me know. Thanks again for watching this week's Tech Tuesday. We'll be back again next week. Have a great